Welcome to Outside the Frame, a podcast for wedding industry professionals to learn how to be better humans in business and life.
We're your hosts,
Caitlin of Skywater Photo and Film,
and Kaylin of Wandering Wildflower Films. We're here to create a supportive and meaningful space for diverse voices to discuss social and personal issues that impact wedding pros.
Our hope is that collectively, we can bring more of ourselves and the things that matter to the forefront of our work in the wedding industry and give all of us the courage to focus our business around who we are and what we care about.
We're so glad you're joining us. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome everyone back to the podcast. Today is our last episode of the season. Which is exciting, also a little sad, but we have had such an incredible season here at Outside the Frame podcast, and we're so grateful if you are still here listening to our podcast. We are so grateful that you're here. It's been a wild season. Today, it's just Caitlin and I. We are just going to recap everything amazing that's happened, looking forward to the next season as well and what that looks like, and then also just talking about maybe hopes and dreams and kind of what our goals are for the next year and where life is at. So I think really we're just going to start with looking back at the past season. I cannot believe, Caitlin, how many different topics we've gone over. It's really quite incredible, like looking back at the list of everyone that we spoke to. Do you have any moments or anything that really stick out to you that you just loved or that keep coming back to?
Oh gosh. Yeah, it's really hard to compare anything side by side because I felt like they were such different conversations and such a nice variety of topics covered. And even when we set out to talk about specific topics with certain people, it was nice how so many of them just flowed easily into other ideas and light bulb moments. And I just hope that helps people feel inspired and just find new ways of thinking about their life and their business and like where they want to go next and like changes that they might want to make. So I wouldn't say anything specific stands out. I just love the sheer variety that we were able to cover in our first season, which was kind of the whole point.
Yeah, and the layers. I feel like there were some people that we spoke to about one topic, but then something came up later. Like specifically, I'm thinking of like Jen, when we spoke to Jen Tai about her experiences, and then we fell into motherhood and talking about being a parent and being a business owner, and just these little conversations that we've been having blossomed into so much more. We wanted to have a conversation, and that's what we got out of it, which was absolutely incredible.
Are there anything specific that kind of jump out at you for as far as like the episodes go?
I think for me, it's just the eye-opening of how many different stories. As a videographer, storytelling is so powerful, and I already knew that. But going into this, it like amplified that even more of how much power there is in just stories and hearing people's stories, hearing their experiences, and being able to connect with them in so many different ways. I think it really helps us build empathy, build understanding, and then also just connection. I think we live on such an island as business owners with our small little businesses where we work with maybe a couple people. And it's really nice to sit down with others or be able to hear them through a podcast of what their experience was. Because it really does. It brings you back of like, okay, I'm not alone in this. I'm not the only one dealing with this, or I'm not the only one that struggles, even if it's a different struggle or just different joys that people had. Really was incredible.
Yeah, especially thinking about the ways that all of us are going through different challenges, different hurdles that we have to overcome, or just different life events that kind of come up. I mean, we talked about so much between talking about the queer community, talking about disabilities, talking about mental health, dealing with divorce, just so many layers, I think. And a lot of that just goes to show all the things that kind of add to what makes starting a business a little bit more difficult. I think especially in our industry compared to others, it's just there's a lot going on, and to be thinking about all those things at the same time that we're trying to celebrate with couples on the best days of their lives, it adds a whole other element to it, right?
Yeah, you have to show up 100% as yourself. I think about that with teaching of you have to kind of like put everything aside when you walk into that classroom. And it's the same on a wedding day. Like no matter what we're dealing with at home, we have to set it aside for the wedding day and just be there and be present and celebrate with them. And then same with when we're in the editing cave. It's like we have to step out of our bodies almost of what's going on, what we're struggling with, the depression, the issues that we're dealing with, and then come back into, okay, there's this joyful moment that we captured. How can we put it all together in the best way?
Yeah, and maybe some of those tough challenges, I think we've recognized through a lot of these conversations that we've had this season, that it actually helps us be maybe a little bit better at things like storytelling and empathy and connecting with couples on a deeper level. So I think that there's lots of possibilities in that sense too.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's the options and the possibilities are endless, and the growth is endless as well, which I think is really quite incredible. And in this first season, I feel like we've come so far, right? It was just like, hey, this is just an idea. Let's make it happen. And now I think as we move into the end and we start kind of thinking about towards the second season, there's just so much that we keep thinking about, like, oh, we should do this and we should do that. And I just think it's so incredible that from this small little idea, we've really blossomed into so much more. Are there any lessons that you feel like you've learned through all of this, through just hosting a podcast?
I think that it definitely was a challenge to time management, probably for both of us, that we're still trying to figure out as we continue to work on this podcast even next year. But I think it was very eye-opening to see that one, we were able to do it. We made it work, right? despite the challenges and like scheduling conflicts and doing all this while also trying to show up for our couples. But it was really eye-opening to me to, just see how quickly we were able to connect with so many people, and how, I feel like we should be a little proud of ourselves for doing all of that while also being in the thick of it, being in the thick of the season,
Absolutely. And I think we got to give hats off to you, because most of those connections were from you. And it's incredible the amount of connections and people that you've really met through this industry. And it just shows you the power of that, of like just being open to talking to new people, and you don't know what will come of that, right? Like these people that you just chatted with in different scenarios got to be on a podcast, and we got to talk to them because of that. And just being able to have all of these experiences and connections is really because of you and everybody that you've been willing to speak to and open up to. So props to you and all of the connections. And thank you to everyone who was on, who was brave enough. We got very few no's. Like most people that we reached out to were like, yeah, absolutely. That sounds amazing. So just thank you to everybody that came on. And we're like, yeah, of course, I'll be on your podcast. We're like reaching out, like, we don't have any episodes yet. This is our idea. Please join us. And just the vulnerability of that, I think, is really quite incredible.
Yeah, I feel very grateful, honestly, for everyone's honesty, vulnerability, transparency. I think that it goes a long way to speaking to the types of people that work in our industry, to begin with. I know that there's like a lot of people out there that kind of talk about how there are, in every industry, and weddings included, there are some shady people or people only doing this for the money, right? But I think that this kind of speaks to the humanity side of our industry, of talking about like real heart to heart stuff. And it just goes to show how deeply we really think about this, and how deeply we care as an industry, as professionals. So I feel like that, all of that has made me incredibly grateful for the connections that we've made, and created through this process has just been really impactful, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's just, I think, again, it comes back to like the very beginning. I don't know who said it, but it was like, it humanizes our industry. It humanizes the people in our industry.
That was Moira LaPlante.
Yes, it really does. Like, it brings us back to like, yeah, we are humans. We are moving through all of this. And it's just, really quite incredible that we got to be a part of this and build this.
Yeah. Any other lessons or thoughts for you about how this went?
Yeah, for me, I just realized like how powerful it is to just do something, to just like it sounds so silly, but it's like I think so many of us are like, oh, it needs to be perfect. And I actually saw a reel about that today of like, if you always wait until you to and if you always wait to start until it's perfect, you'll never start. And I think so many of us are like, oh, well, we need to fix this or we need to do that. And instead we were both like, let's just do it. Let's see what happens. Let's stumble and fall as we go. And we did. And there was things that went wrong. You know, we missed a whole episode audio track. We had issues with recording where we didn't have the right audio, like things that maybe nobody that's listening knew, but like things went wrong. And we just kept going for it. We just kept pushing through and figuring it out as we went. And I think that in itself is really powerful to show we can do it. If we just set our mind to something and like jump into it, we can make it happen. And I think that in itself is a huge lesson of like, no, it doesn't need to be perfect. No, you don't need to know all the answers. Just do it, give it a go, and see what happens. And that's exactly what we did. If you're out there, you're like been talking about something or thinking about something for a long time, just do it. It doesn't need to be perfect. You're going to stumble a long way and just make it happen anyway, because there's so many people out there doing half energy, right? Like that's what started this all was, so many people are only putting 25% in and doing it anyway. So let's do the same. Let's just go for it and see what happens.
Yeah, couldn't hurt to try. What are some things that you think you're excited to talk about next season?
Ooh, I'm really excited to just expand even more of who we're talking about or talking to. I know we talked about different types of vendors, really expanding that. We have talked to a lot of different vendors, but expanding it even further. And then also thinking about the different corners of elopements and weddings that we maybe didn't think about before, just thinking of everything that's non-traditional, not just, oh, we're talking about LGBTQ, but also thinking about, we were talking about what the like, I want to say like the dark corner of elopements and like weddings, or like the eclectic, you know, the different ways that people choose to get married and show their love that isn't traditional or typical when you think about like two people getting married. So I'm just excited to dive into some of the different sides of weddings, as well as just hearing from more people, because there's so many topics we didn't even touch. And it's like, literally every time we talk about it, it's like, oh, we can talk about this and we can talk about that and we can talk about this. So I'm just excited to dive into that. I'm also really excited to be more intentional next year, because we were so like, let's just go for it. I think sometimes our things were kind of all over the place, which is great. But I think next year, really thinking towards the schedule of it and how we want episodes to come out and what episodes after which other ones, and just really being more intentional behind it, I think will be really cool too.
Yeah, and taking this break during this busy season, I think will give us plenty of time to make notes and make improvements and think through a lot of that process and that order of things, I think, to be a little bit more strategic. And yeah, so if you're out there listening and you're thinking, maybe I have a good story to tell, maybe you know someone else who has a really good story to tell, there are so many great topics that we're still looking to explore. We obviously have a form on our website too, where you can either nominate yourself or someone else. A few people have submitted on there, so we would love to hear from a few more people to submit or nominate somebody. We're definitely looking for venue owners, florists. Maybe we'll talk to some, catering and bartending. Just the sky is the limit as far as types of vendors go. We really want a really diverse group of people to come on and talk about a wide range of things. But yes, I would also love to hear a little bit more about kind of like nerdy weddings or, Renaissance weddings or rock and roll, like all the different styles, right, out there, and representing a variety of like religions. There's just the sky is the limit for something like this. And so I can't wait to see what next season brings for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be full of surprises and I'm excited for it. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Well, looking towards the next year and our little break that we have, what are some goals or plans that you have, whether it's business related or just like life related?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a little bit of both. I am grateful that my year is fairly full. It's not, it's not like booked to the max, but it's giving me plenty of space this summer, especially like over the next couple months to really think about being more intentional with my own personal life, right? I feel like sometimes in like this quote unquote busy wedding season, we get so sucked into like just work like 24/7, and we're like working weekends and editing during the weekdays, and it's just like it's almost nonstop. And luckily, even though I have a decently booked year, I still have plenty of gaps. And for a while it made me feel like really anxious. Let's be honest, I still feel a little anxious about it. But I think a lot of that anxiety I'm recognizing is coming from the fact that I haven't been able to slow down during a summer season because I've been so booked. And while I'm very grateful for that, at the same time, it hasn't allowed me to really think through all the things that I want to do personally. And it's kind of forcing my hand to find a bit more balance in my life. And I think I'm trying to find acceptance in that, and leaning into giving myself more space to help my family as my mom continues her progression through the Alzheimer's diagnosis, but also like celebrating good moments. Like I'm going to go home for my parents' 60th birthdays are in August. So like celebrating the little things, finding balance in giving more to the couples that have booked me, but also giving more to myself this year, and leaning into things that have been kind of sitting on the back burner for a while. Like I know I mentioned, several episodes ago about going to school for writing and hopefully working on a book project that's still in the works. But I feel like I've actually made more progress this year than I have in several years. So I feel like leaning into a lot of those personal interests and passions of mine, like working on the book. I'm, getting back into, I've signed up for a couple scuba lesson classes this year so that I can refresh my scuba certification, which I did a few years ago. So like there's a lot that I think it's giving me the freedom and encouragement to lean more into trying to balance life and business. So I think that it's been great to also have this podcast as a reminder, because we keep talking about how so many things are like integrated, right? Like we are whole people and we're complex and we have a variety of interests, and it's just kind of given me more permission to lean into that. So I've been, in that sense, I've still been very grateful for how much freedom and encouragement, I guess, this podcast is giving me in that sense.
Yeah, it's crazy that we started this for others, but it also partially is for ourselves. Like there's so many things we do in our lives that like, yes, it's for other people, but also we get some benefit in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, what about you? What are some things that you're looking forward to this year?
Oh,
Obviously,
it's gonna
motherhood.
Motherhood is gonna be crazy. I'm now like, let's see, 4 weeks into being a mother, which is wild. Yeah, I'm just looking forward to slowing down this year as well. Obviously, I'm not taking as many weddings. I don't want to lose my business because I've put so much into it, and I love my business and I love what I do. And in the same, I want to be there and be present for Emmy and to be just like conscious of the time that I'm putting aside. And so it's really just going to be a learning curve this year. I think it's always learning. I'm always learning. But this year it's going to be learning how to balance being a mom, taking care of Emmy full time, and then also having a business, because it was one of those things that like you want to have your semblance. It's like you want everything, right? It's like I want to have my business, I want to be independent, but I also want to be a mom, and I don't want someone else to raise my kids. So just like this like endless circle of like, well, I can't have everything. So I have to give a little, but luckily it's, wedding here, wedding there. So the flexibility of editing is nice because I can edit at any time that works. So like if that ends up being 2 a.m, that ends up being 2 a.m. It's finding those little pockets throughout the day to edit. And then also when I do have to be there at a wedding, it's only for a day or 2 days. And so it gives me that chance to feel like a person again, have my independence, but it's only these like small pockets, which I think will be really helpful to then still being present with Emmy. And yeah, I think it's constantly learning to balance fun and work. And now I'm balancing fun, work, and a child. So it's like a fun, fun added thing onto that. I definitely, this last 4 weeks, I've gotten like very little done for work because I'm just trying to survive. But I think in time, as Emmy gets a little bit bigger and we can sleep through the night and have longer sections of naps, I'll be able to get some work done. I think something that's been really cool actually is I've connected with quite a few other moms who oddly have had babies or are having babies there's a baby boom happening because I know quite a few other business owners that are in the industry that are having kids. One actually had a baby like the day before me, which is insanity. But I feel like there's like this little, I don't know, extra community within the wedding community that I'm like, okay, not only am I a business owner in the wedding industry, so I have that bubble, but I also have this like extra bubble inside of that, this little special extra bubble that's like, I'm a parent, or, you know, I just had a kid, or I had a kid 5 years ago and they can give me some advice and some thoughts. So it's really cool to hear from people who have been moms for a long time or dads for a long time, and then also hearing from the people who are new parents. So it's just a really wild experience, and it's not easy being a parent, and I'm only 4 weeks in and I'm already saying that.
I mean, you're doing well. And I would say, is there anything specific from some of these other connections that you've made? Have you heard any like tidbits of advice that have really like stuck out to you as far as being a business owner or handling motherhood, any of that?
I think just realizing that it's a season, that like the kids being this young, it's a season, like they won't always be this young. And so just remembering that, like, yeah, you might have to pare back your business for a couple of years. It might look different for a couple of years, but soon enough, your kiddo is going to be in elementary school or high school. And then you're going to be like, how did that happen? You know? So it's like enjoying that and embracing that it's okay to step back. I don't have to lose everything. I don't have to lose myself, but it's okay to step away from the business, at least minimize it a little bit more. Focus on the kiddos while they're small, because it's not a very long time. You know, like if you think about, they go to kindergarten, I think preschool is like 4 years old, kindergarten's 5 years old. So it's like soon enough, Emmy is going to be off in school, and then I'm going to have 7 hours a day where I'm like, okay, now what do I do? So there will be plenty of time to work. And so it's like, take a step back, focus on the kiddo, still work, but just don't get too stressed out about like keeping it crazy and like totally hustling, because you only get this much time with your kids for so long. And I think Jen Ty had kind of talked about that a little, of like the number of summers you get, and the fact that like, yeah, they grow up so fast. So like, just accept that this is where you're at in life. And if you can step back a little bit, then that's a good thing, you know, to be present. So that's my main focus, is just realigning everything to fit a little bit differently, where I'm still doing some work, but it's just like not as hectic as it was the last couple of years. And I'm trying to squeeze in some family trips. Like we're going to South Dakota. I'm excited. My first wedding back is in Glacier, which is going to be super cool. So also mixing in some travel. We're also doing the wedding with you, or the 2 weddings with you in California in September. So it's going to be fun to mix some like travel excitement that I still really love, along with just, working my business and seeing where this all takes me. Plus, like, there was something really cool. So when Emmy was like 2 weeks old, I think, I took photos of her and me and Jeremy, and it was so much fun. I was like, man, maybe I need to like integrate some motherhood sessions or something like different into that. And all the maternity stuff I did, like when you took photos for me, and I had Gabrielle Stowe take photos for me. And it's like, it was such a special experience to be on the other side of it, that I'm like, man, I should be doing this for other people, because it's something that is really special to have and to be able to look back on and to remember. Because I was like, I don't need maternity photos, like I'm fine, whatever. And I'm so glad that I have them now, like looking back at them and just having those moments captured, and having the pictures of Emmy that I took. I had a friend take any of them, that it was the 3 of us, but any of them that I took that I wasn't in, I took. And it was just really special. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe I'll become a maternity photo person. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I love that, something like that, like certain life moments can give you that extra insight, I think, of like, oh, hey, like maybe I might be interested in trying this new thing out and seeing how I could weave that into my business or something I feel really passionate about or something like that. I think that it can just really add an extra level to, yeah, connecting you with the work you do, right?
Yeah, it comes back to like we are whole people. We are very complicated, right? Like you were talking about, we're very complicated people and there's a lot of levels to us. And I need to remember that like I don't just have to focus on elopements. I don't just have to focus on being a business owner. I can also talk about being a mother and that experience, and also like getting outside and loving nature and protecting nature and just thinking about how can I take all the parts of me, all the things that I love, and share that out into the world with my couples? Because yeah, I think we forget that piece of it. We're like, wait, we are human too, and we need to share that out. And it helps our couples be more connected to us, because the more human we are, the more they can connect with us.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope that a lot of people listening out there kind of take a lot of the things that we have been talking about all this season and continue to like listen to some of these episodes even during the busy season. I know that it can be really hard for all of us, but I think everything that we're talking about right now of, hey, we are not just a wedding photographer, a wedding planner, a wedding venue owner, whatever that is for you, you're a whole person. And I think that that is such a big part of, I think, everything that we've been talking about this whole first season. And so I hope that all of you continue to lean into that more.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget that you are you, all percent of you, and everything that's important to you is important to other people. So it's like, make sure that you're sharing that out, and don't hide your personality, because people want to see you. They want to know you. So don't be afraid to show the weird or the interesting or the nerdy or the athletic or whatever piece of you that is important to you. Don't be afraid to show it. People will connect with it. Some people won't, but people will connect with it.
The right people will connect with it. Your people.
Yes, your people. And then in the end, you'll be happier for it, right? It goes very back. Like, let's circle back to the very first episode of values and why it's important to put them at the forefront of your business. This is part of that, is showing your values, showing who you are, showing what's important to you will get you the couples and the clients that connect with you the best, and will make you the happiest, and you'll just flourish. So don't be afraid to be you.
Yeah, we're so excited you all are here. We really hope you guys come back and listen into season 2. And we can't wait to share all the good stuff with you next season.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next year. Oh my gosh. Sweet. That's a wrap.
Yeah.
We did it.
Good job. Go us.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's wild.
Oh, okay.